brother Richard Armstrong. I'm a Holy Cross brother, and I've been here 32 years. I joined the brothers in 1964, and I celebrate about 53 years under vows. When I came in the brothers, basically we're all high school teachers, and I went and got my degree and then taught high school for 18 years. And I decided after 18 years that maybe I should put my feet where my mouth is and work with the poor. At the beginning, it was started by two Holy Cross priests, John Fitzgerald and Michael Baxter, and they ran it all by themselves. And when the year I came, we expanded to 6 core members, and I was one of them. Oh, here's a picture of 1002 West Polk, the original house. Our house was a direct descendant from the philosophy of the Catholic worker and Dorothy Day. When the two priests began Andre House, their idea was that they were going to just house people, like 5 or 6. And then all of a sudden we ended up doing soup line also. Apparently the Christmas, somebody brought a turkey, and someone said, well, what are we going to do with this turkey? And someone said, well, let's cook it and make soup. And then they brought it down to Madison Street, and that was the beginning of soup lines. Then you can see, this is in the backyard where we would set tables up and people would chop, preparing for the soup line. And back here was a small kitchen, which we'd put a pot on, and then there was a small kitchen. Only by the grace of God did certain agencies overlook us. Like, we actually cooked the meals at 1002 West Polk, and we would bring it to Madison Street and with paper plates, and then we would take it back to Andre House, and we'd wash the pots in the alley. I mean, you know, a lot of that stuff. The city basically did not like the idea of us just feeding on Madison. So they encouraged us to find a building. So at one point we stopped, they stopped us, and we made cold sandwiches at St. Matthew's. And then we were lucky enough that St. Mary's Grammar School had a kitchen, so we would do that for a couple of years. And then they closed down. And then, again, we had a volunteer who happened to be influential in the state fair, and he was able to get us a little kitchen there. And we would cook there for, I don't know, maybe a year or so. But in the process, the city finally said that St. Mary's Food Bank was moving to their new location, and if we bought this, they would okay it. And finally, they gave us a permit and said we had to open the door within 1 year. We got down to 2 days before the year was up, and we opened up. And we've been open up ever since. I would say one thing that I've learned over 30 years is to believe in providence of God, that things will work out. And I could tell you all kinds of stories about how we were kind of up against the wall, and then all of a sudden it would be relieved, like our truck would break down. And we'd have somebody call us up and say, my husband's is a contractor and he finished his job, could you use a truck? The biggest change is that when they began in 1985, it was seen as being a small thing where they had took in 4 or 5 people, and to go from that to this building and serving 500 or 600 meals a day and doing 30 to 40 showers a day and clothes closet for 40 people and telephone. I mean, it's much, much bigger. In the beginning, we fought the ideas of being big. But either by the grace of God or by the need, we expanded. I think all of us are on the core have moments when we think, are we really doing any good? Many people will say, all you're doing is putting a Band-Aid on a bad situation. Is there any other way that you could physically help the homeless? When there's a need, it calls in our hearts to answer the need the best we can, knowing that we're not going to be able to solve everything. In my heart, I've always felt that I was in the right place, doing the right thing. And when that changes, then I will move. I'm also 72 years old, so I have to realize that there's a limit to how long this can last. But also the idea is that with every door that shuts, there's windows that open, in the sense that because I cannot do the physical stuff I used to do, lo and behold, the young people. I mean, I used to think, I can pick up these 50 pounds of potatoes, what is it? And then I'd say, I don't need your help. Well, now it's okay. Back in my brain somewhere, I have this model of what it used to be like for the brothers. The brothers used to get a degree, and they would teach like at a high school, and they would teach 5 classes. And then they get a little bit older, and be 4 classes in a study hall. And then it would get down to the end where you'd fill the pop machine. But you still stayed at the brother's house, you know. So you felt like you're part of the organization of the school. What I'm hoping here will be the idea is that by the grace of God and the goodness and kindness of the people I work with, I will be able to scale back. And like, I opened up building at 5:30. No one else wants to do that, but I don't mind doing that. From day one, whoever was on staff felt called to be kind, loving, patient, and compassionate to the people that we serve. And that's been continuous. How often are we told, no matter who you deal with, you have to look for the face of Christ. So basically, that's what I try to do. I think the word that we don't use very often, but is very important, is we have to be grateful. And I'm grateful for the 32 years I've been here and for the development. I mean, not just for myself, but I mean, the idea is that we celebrated last year giving out our 5 millionth meal. If somebody would have told me or predicted that we would end up where we are now, I would have said, that's not going to happen. And sure enough, it did.